Quick introductions to the team, quick introduction around Business Central, and then I'll hand over to our partner who will introduce himself and the company and everything that's good about document capture and the rest of that product suite. I want to argue there's such a massive ecosystem within Business Central and all the tools we could have and offer, but what we're keen to do is partner with people with specific tools that we know will benefit councils greatly in terms of document capture and automatic payment feeds, etc. That will really benefit council, save time and increase the productivity. So just to introduce the team, so obviously, hopefully most of you will know David, some of you will know me, and introducing Michael as well from Continia, who will go through the document capture feature with us shortly.
Brilliant. I would also mention, John, we've got our colleague Dan Beecher on the call as well, haven't we? And Dan is one of our sort of
very good point.
Sort of council contacts here.
Sorry,
and if
Dan.
there's any assistance you might need, Dan can jump up and help, and he'll be in the chat room as well. But yeah, looking forward to the session today with Michael.
Cool. And just to for those of you will know that GovFinance is one of the many applications we've got in our Gov suite. Anything from inspections through to CRM and obviously GovAssist, AI-powered companion that will be, those of you at SLCC also see more about over the couple of days. But very exciting, and it's something we're looking to integrate with our apps over the coming year, as well as just have them as companions for councils up and down the country. So GovFinance itself, based on Business Central. Business Central is part of the Microsoft Dynamics suite, all integrated with Microsoft 365. The whole main being it's part of the same ecosystem, so you can use your 365 account to sign on, single sign on, all in one place. Tools we're adding to the suite or added to the suite, your AGAR, your annual return, all the ability to import documents within Business Central, store them within Business Central and not SharePoint. The reports pack, which some of you may know, and a kind of a snapshot of on the screen in front of you there. Nice graphical reports pack, data that can be shared with members either via PowerPoint in real time or static and embedded into Teams as well, so that those people who you want to have access to up-to-date real-time reporting can have that and not just have reports delivered for your council meetings. Lots of flexibility within the product suite itself and lots of tools we're looking to expand the product set with. Now on that, Michael, I hope can you still hear us? I think it's about time that we can introduce Michael today and from Continia. He can talk a bit about the company and move on to a demonstration of the document capture aspect, which we're really excited about, the advantages that will give anybody who can use it. So, Michael, if what I might do is double check that you've got presenter rights. But actually, what I'll do first is I'll go into the next slide and let you talk a bit about Continia.
Yeah. I can see in the top right corner of my screen that I'm not yet allowed to share my screen. So maybe if you can fix it in the meantime, then we'll be all ready to show document capture after these first few slides. So also on my behalf, welcome everybody to this webinar today. It's really nice to attend and to take part of this webinar. To start with a little bit about Continia, who we are, and also who am I. As Jonathan said, my name is Michiel Eggens. I'm a Dutch guy. I work from Amsterdam. I work for Continia in the role of partner manager, and in my role, I am responsible for maintaining relationships with all of our UK partners, as well as our partners in the Netherlands. Continia, we're quite an established name in the Microsoft Dynamics ecosystem. We've been existing for 30 years. We started in Denmark, where still our head office is. And I must say we create quite nice apps or add-ons for Microsoft Business Central, as well as the old versions and the Vision versions. The main and the largest solution that we have within our Continia suite is document capture, where we will take a close look today. But we also do some other stuff. We also have an expense management tool for submitting expenses, corporate credit card transactions, mileage claims, and more. We also have document output, which is a document distribution tool where from your Business Central, you would be able to send out any type of document that you have batch-wise. You can add specific attachments if you like. And also important, which is the newest member to the family in the United Kingdom, is our payment management solution, allowing you to connect your Business Central system to the bank, allowing you to submit payments, import your bank statements, and reconcile them with much less manual intervention. All of our apps are fully integrated in your ERP system, and this is for you as a user. It is quite familiar. It is easy to adopt. It's easy to implement. And all of our solutions are there to reduce workload on the accounts payable departments. Worldwide, we have over 18,000 customers. And thanks to partners like Cloudy IT, we continue to grow our solutions more and more each year. So if we go to the next slide, we'll take a close look at document capture today, as promised. Document capture is our solution for accounts payable automation, most and widely used for automating the whole flow around purchase invoices. So as you can see on the screen, we do several things. We can do several things with document capture. Of course, we can extract the data from the document that comes in, the purchase invoice. We can match the invoice against purchase orders or purchase receipt lines. There's quite an extensive workflow behind in document capture, where you can approve all your documents, even with a web approval portal outside Business Central. But I'll, of course, show you later in the live demo. And one of the newest features within document capture is a purchase contract module, where for any recurring cost that you have, you can create a purchase contract. So think of your utility bills, but it can also be something as small as a employee LinkedIn subscription, as an example, just to keep track on your recurring cost. So you can assign owners to this contract. There's an automatic email notification functionality within this feature as well. So it's a complete solution. And I think it'll be quite a good idea to switch screens. I can now see in the top right that I'm able to share my screen. So if you could confirm whether you could see my screen. Thank you so much.
Yes, we can. It's just to say, as Mikael starts his presentation, if anybody's got any kind of questions, just drop them in the chat. We should have some time from Q&A at the end, and about anything to do with GovFinance, but obviously document capture being the theme of the day. And with that, I'll let Mikael continue. Thank you.
All right. Well, of course, sit back, relax, and enjoy the demo. Like I said, all of our solutions fully integrated in Business Central. And this is where the finance team has the full overview in the form of a role center. If you take a close look, you can also see that I've activated one of our other solutions, expense management here, so I can see all the expense management activities. But today, the talks will be on document capture, right? So what do we see here in the role center? To start off with, on the left-hand side, we can see how many documents or how many invoices, let's talk invoices, how many invoices came in. And they can come in either via post, oh, what a timing, either via post or the other option is via email, which is more common, I guess, these days. So we will connect document capture to an email address that you might already have for purchase invoices. And automatically, without you having to do anything for it, the documents will enter the system automatically. As you can see over here, back in the role center, we can see we have 12 documents waiting for us. Now, before we go into the document journal where we handle the invoices, we'll take a look on what else do we see here. And in the middle, we can see purchase approvals for invoices, as well as for credit memos. Of course, with document capture, we can approve your purchase invoices and credit memos. Later on in the demo, I will explain you more on how you can approve the different the different documents. Purchase contracts, just as I talked about in the slides, purchase contracts allows you to set up a contract for recurring costs that you have. And document capture is quite clever. We have AI in our OCR technology, so it does recognize whether the invoice that comes in is a recurring one, and it will also suggest whether you want to or not create a purchase contract if it recognizes one of these recurring invoices. So you can start creating a purchase contract from the invoice, or you can go to the contract card and then fill in all the needed information. As I mentioned, there's also an automatic email notification or reminder email notification option in the purchase contracts module, so that the contract owner does receive this notification timely before the contract is renewed. Today will be more on the invoices. And as I said, 12 invoices entered our system and are already here waiting for us in the document journal. So when you use document capture, the document journal is where the accounts payable team will process the invoices. So on the right hand side, we can see an image of the original invoice. And as you can see, I can resize this window. I can resize the document if it has multiple pages, which is not the case. But if it was the case, I could go through the multiple pages here. In the top left, I can see the to-do list. So the invoices that we need to process. This is the template. And down below here in the bottom, we can find some comments. So how does document capture work? You're going to create templates per vendor. And in this template, you'll tell the system how do you want this invoice to be processed. And we can process many types of invoices that you might have. Think of cost invoices like this one. We can match against purchase orders, as mentioned. We can handle multiple lines, which I will also demonstrate in this demo. There's not a lot we can do with document capture. So in this demo, I'll show you 3 types of invoices. We'll start off easy with this simple cost invoice, and then we'll take a step up. We'll step it up a bit, show an order or an invoice that we match against an order, and also the line recognition. Now, I was explaining you're going to create templates per vendor, and you can create many templates per vendor, multiple. If a vendor sends you multiple types of invoices. Now, in this case, we're going to create the first template, but before we create this template, let's see how did document capture recognize this vendor, because as you can see over here, it recognized this document is coming from First Up Consultants. How did it do it? Well, in this case, it found a VAT number here on the invoice when the OCR scanner scanned the document. And with this VAT number, it made a match on the vendor card with First Up Consultants. And if there's no VAT number on the invoice, no worries, the system automatically looks further for other details to make the match. If it's a new vendor that hasn't been created yet in your system, then you can start creating the vendor from here. If it's no match or a mismatch maybe, then it's one of the benefits being fully integrated into your ERP system. Clicking on the 3 dots there opens your vendor list. And as you can see, you can select the correct vendor manually. But now in this case, it did recognize the correct vendor, so no worries on that. And now we can start creating the first template. And template making is something that you can do will do in the beginning. And as soon as you've created the templates for the vendors, then the invoices will flow through the system automatically without you having to see or touch the invoice anymore from account payables perspective. All right, so let's go through all the fields. Now, in this case, we can see the invoice number was captured, and this is the master template. So this is your starting point. And of course, you can change or amend this master template to your liking. You can add fields, remove fields, and you don't need Cloudy IT to do this for you. Once they've trained you on how to use our solution, you can do this yourself really easy. I always say if I can do it, everyone can do it. Now, so the first field, invoice number, as you can see, it also gets highlighted on the invoice here on the right-hand side of the screen. And document capture always jumps to where it found the value for you. Quite a handy feature. Captured correctly. Now, let's say if it wasn't captured or incorrect, then we would have a wording down below here in the comment section. You could check, okay, I can see definitely this is an empty field, so we need to fill it. How do we do it then? You see the invoice number here in the invoice. So left-hand mouse button and right-hand mouse button. And we fixed it. And now document capture, if this was a mistake, it won't make the same mistake twice. We'll move on to the next field. Document date, or the invoice date was captured. The due date was captured from the invoice, as you can see here, but you will also have the option to calculate the due date based on the payment terms for this vendor, of course. You are in the lead. Document capture will honor the payment terms that you have for sure. Contact person was captured. There's no order number on this first invoice. That's why this field is open. There's also no currency code filled in because GBP is the local currency within this demo system. Should this be an invoice in euros or US dollars maybe, then of course we would have seen the currency code here. It also captured the amounts and it validates the amounts as well. So it checks, is this 20% of the amount ex VAT? And are these two the same as the amount including VAT? If it's a vendor with multiple VAT amounts, then you can add a VAT amount. If it's a no VAT, vendor with no VAT, then yeah, it will not look for it because it looks at the vendor posting groups.
Again.
Account type, the next field. Now we can see you must specify an account type. Well, in this case, I click on the three dots and then I can choose, I want to post this to 1GL, or maybe I want to link it to a purchase contract as mentioned earlier. For the demo, we'll choose GL and move one field down to the GL account list. Clicking on the three dots opens up your GL account list, of course. And in this case, we are going to say, let's post this one to the office supplies general ledger account. Do I want to set this as a default? Yes, please, because then I won't have to fill it in the next time again. The line posting description, and we're almost done with setting up the first template. Line posting description, we can do several things here. So as you can see, we've now captured the text from the invoice, but you will also be able to type in something manual here. You can combine fields from the template if you want to. There's several options. Moving down to the last field, invoice, credit memo, or prepayment invoice. Document capture also automatically recognizes what type the document is that comes in. In this case, it's an invoice. It recognizes that it's an invoice. And we are now ready to register. And once we click register, of course, this all can be automated once you've set up the templates. And once we click register, the standard Business Central purchase invoice screen opens. We've also added the image of the invoice here on the right-hand side. And now you can see the data that was captured from the document was filled into the fields here. All right, looks good. I'll send it for approval. And as promised, I have a lot more to show you. So this was simple cost invoice, but we can do more as promised. We can do order matching. And in this case, we have an invoice with some items on it. And we would like to match it against the purchase receipt lines that I have in my system. So you can do several things in regards to the matching. The first matching option is based on a total amount, and then document capture looks at the invoice and the order, if they are both £100 or £1,000, then it's a match and it goes through. The downside of this is that you do not know whether you ordered a, I don't know, Lenovo or a Dell laptop. This is why we developed a second method. And with this second method, you can match on a line item level. So you can match, did we actually receive those 20 lamps for £25, those 5 whiteboards for £700. And this is, of course, making your match very accurate. It also allows you to do partial matching. You can set up tolerances per vendor as well, or skip the approval if the match is 100%. So your match will become very accurate. Now, in this case, I'll show you the manual matching, but of course, you can set up on the template card for each vendor whether you want to run the auto match in the background. So for now, I'll do the manual matching, where we go to the matching screen that you will get with document capture. Again, the invoice on the right side, the order lines, so basically all the orders that haven't been received yet for this vendor in this case. And in the top, we can see our receipt lines, and those are the lines where, let me filter, where we would like to match this invoice against. So as you can see, it has all the information. It has the amounts that we need to have in order to match. The quantities are there. And now it's really easy. Clicking on Perform Match will make sure that the invoice is matched against receipt lines. And oh, we're so happy. It's a happy flow today. It's a 100% match. As you can see, there's no differences. Should there be a difference, you can see it in this column, as well as here in the top right. Also, the line where the difference is in will not be made bold like they are now. So you can really easily see where is the difference. Yeah, in this case, it matched 100%. So we could now set up to skip the approval workflow. Yeah, like I said, we can do. We can skip the approval. We can set up tolerances per vendor, where within you can accept any differences. In this case, we can now see it matched fully with the purchase receipt, but it also will tell you if it's not the case. Maybe if the tolerance level has been exceeded. Maybe it was a partial match. The system will always give you clear comments on what it did. That's what I wanted to show you. So in this case, 100% match. I'll register the document. And once we go into the purchase invoice screen, I will also send this one for approval so that later on, when we get to the approvals, we have some invoices that we can approve. Now, the last type of invoice that I would like to show you is this one. As you can see, this is an invoice that contains 3 lines with different items. In this demo system, there's no purchase order to match this invoice against, but I want to show you how we can capture the line details of this invoice by using AI. So we could now post it to OneGL, but we don't want this. We go into the document card. I'll go to document and then document card. And this is also in regards to template making and where you set up how you want to capture the line details for this invoice, for this vendor. Now, in this case, recognize lines is set to no, but we want to capture the line data and we don't want to type it in manually, right? That's what we don't want to do. So we have 2 options. Where do we capture the lines? Here in this tab called lines, of course. What else? We have a few options. The old-fashioned way, manually, and then I would need to drag the yellow boxes like I did with the first invoice around the headers. But since we now have AI in the OCR technology, it's just one click of the button. And as you can see, the system is super clever. It recognizes the line details from the invoice. And I can hear you thinking, yeah, but it's a really easy invoice. It's only 3 lines. But trust me, if it's an invoice with 10, 20, 30 pages with all line items, document capture will capture all the line details for you automatically. And this is a huge time saver, of course. Now you can see we have some errors. We need to translate the lines. As I mentioned, there's no purchase order. If there was a purchase order, the translations would have been applied here. But now we can do it manually, or we can use the item tables in the system if we have, but in this system we don't have them. So I would now be able to say manually, okay, this London chair has a different item number. So I'll link the vendor item number to our item number. I'll do the same for the Paris chair. And we also have this mouse pad, which I would like to post to a general ledger account. And I also use the office supplies, which we previously used. Now, document capture also remembers these translations, of course. So the next time we receive an invoice with the same items, the translations will be applied automatically for sure. So ready to register, purchase invoice screen again, and now I'll send this one for approval. If we now go a couple of screens back and take a close look again at the role center, we can see some things have changed. In this case, 3 invoices that we've handled have now moved this way. And as the accounts payable team, I have the full overview of all the invoices with the status. So these are pending approval and I can see by who. So in this demo system, it's quite limited. They're all with Robin. We have 2 approver users in the system. But of course, there's much more to do with the approvals. So first, you can approve in Business Central, or you have a second option, which is our web approval portal. The features or the functionality of these, the web approval portal is the same as in Business Central, but this web approval portal can be accessed with only a Microsoft team member license. Now, an approver that you've set up will receive an email notification, and there's a link in the email. And based on the setup for the user, either the web portal will open when clicking on the link like I'm simulating now, or Business Central will open. So this is our web approval portal interface. As you can see, we have an overview of the invoices that we need to approve. And these notification emails, they can be scheduled to whatever works best for you, for your council, of course. There can be 1 per invoice. There can be 1 per day or 1 per week even. And we also have reminder email functionality. So should maybe after 2 days, 2 days after sending the first notification email, nothing happens, no approval, then you can automatically have the first reminder email sent out to the approvers. And maybe a day later, when again nothing happens, a second reminder. So you don't have to chase the approvers. And this is also a time saver. Now, as I said, the full overview, all the documents that I need to approve. Before we are going to approve the documents, I would be able to check my archive. What did I approve last week? I was briefly touching upon expense management, our other solution for expenses. Well, if I am an approver that is also approving expenses or mileages, then I can do it in this same web approval portal. Purchase contracts can be handled here as well as sales orders and also purchase orders. If you have multiple entities or multiple companies set up in the database, in this case, we only have 1, but I could also switch between the multiple companies should I be an approver for multiple companies. And this is also really nice. In case I'm going on leave, I can set up my out of office here so that the approval can just continue while I'm enjoying a nice cocktail on the beach. Now let's open the first invoice. This is again what the approver will see. Image of the invoice again on the right side. I can add my comments here. I can see that once I give my approval, it will be sent to the next approver in line, Esther. So I can say, Esther, this is okay. While we're here, maybe explaining you how can you approve. First of all, based on approvers and limits. So in this case, Robin can approve up to £5,000. If the invoice like this one exceeds this limit, this amount, then it will be sent to the next approver. In this case, Esther, it's very limited, but you can set up different approvers with different approval amount limits. So that's the first option. The second option is to set up fixed approvers per vendor. So vendor number 1 will always go to Robin, and vendor number 2 will have to go to Esther. And you can also, if you use dimensions within your system, you can approve based on dimension values. This is called advanced approval. So let's say you have an invoice with 2 lines, both for a different cost center. This invoice can be sent to 2 different approvers. Both are responsible for approving their own invoice line. So, all right, so I set my comment here. Esther, this is okay. So Esther can read my comment. I see some details from the invoice here. Also the lines. And you can set up per approver what they can and cannot change to the lines. So in this case, if I want to change item numbers, computer says no. But if I want to change GL codes, I can do it. However, I can only change it into a few GL codes. And of course, you also have the option for an approver to not make any changes. So all looks good. I can approve the invoice. And now you can see in the top right, it was sent to Esther. I can also reject the invoice. If I reject it, I'm forced to fill in a reason. I can forward in multiple ways. So first approve and then forward without approval. And if in case I have a question, I can forward it to a colleague with a question and then have it returned back to me with the answer, whereafter I can approve or reject. I can also put it on hold. I might be awaiting a credit memo. I put this in the comments, put the invoice on hold. And in this way, the accounts payable team always has like the good overview of where are the invoices within the system, who has put the document on hold, for what reason. So should you receive a call from a vendor asking on the status of his invoice, you can immediately check and see what the status of the invoice is. For now, let's just approve the invoices and empty the to-do list. As I mentioned, you can also approve within Business Central by going to approval entries. Now this second approver, which in this case is Esther, the second approver, has also received a notification email. She clicked on the link and she is an approver in Business Central, so she will be linked to this page. And as you can see, it looks more or less the same as the web portal. I can see the comment that Robin left. Esther, this is okay. So now I'm quite comfortable to blindly approve the invoice. But I can do different things similar to what we can do in the web approval portal, of course. So now they've come into the final stage. They've been fully approved. And now they come back to the finance team, so to say, in the release bin. And they have a new status, as you can see, the status released. And as soon as they have been fully approved, having the status released, they can be posted. You can automate this with a job queue. Automatically every day at 6 o'clock, all the invoices with the status release can be posted. Or you can do it one by one after doing like the final check, or batch-wise, which I will do in this case. After the posting, then document capture will stop. And then our payment management solution could take over the process in terms of paying the vendors. But before I tell you a little bit about payment management, let's go and see how can you find your documents back within the system. So with document capture, you will get like a digital archive, and we do recommend to store your documents on Azure. But this can also be a local file share, of course. For finding back the documents, you do not have to leave your system. I always like this document search option, which is basically all you need. You can find back based on an invoice number, a vendor name, an item name maybe. So let's say we had this Paris chair. I don't know when I bought it. I can't remember where, but I need all the invoices with the word Paris on it. Typing in the word Paris will give me all the documents in our system with the word Paris on it. So the whole invoice is fully indexed. So it can be any word that is on the invoice, of course. But that is not the only way we can find your documents back. Basically, anywhere it touches something, the vendor card, the VAT entries, the general ledger, of course. All throughout Business Central, you can find back your documents, of course. Now, this was document capture. As I mentioned, we also have an expense management tool, which works the same. With expense management, we can do several things. You can do reports. It's like expenses bundled together. You can do single expenses, either paid with your cash or private card, or if you have a company credit card, we can also link your company credit card. We can do mileage claims, and we can do per diems as well. It looks more or less the same as we saw with the purchase invoices. Again, as the finance team, you'll have an overview of all the expenses that are in the system. In this case, you can see it contains only MasterCard transactions from one user. And now there's no attachment yet because the user, Lina, in this demo system, has received a push notification on her phone that she needs to add the receipts to these expenses. Once she's done that, she can send them in, and they will be sent automatically into the approval workflows again, where you on the finance team will have a visibility on the receipt or the invoice as well. Payment management is also one of our solutions, just released in the UK. One side is submitting payments from the payment journal. And this is the standard payment journal, but we've, of course, added a lot of functionality in terms of payments to the payment journal. As you can see, we've added the status column here. We've extended the fact boxes on the right-hand side. And also behind the scenes, so to say, there's a lot of added value, added functionality for you. So based on the setup, you can suggest your vendor payments, or if you use expense management and you've set up your employees as employees in the system, then you can also do your employee payments from here. Now it looks 28 days ahead. You can see the payments are ready. There's a validation taking place in the background. They've been validated, and I all have the status valid. And now they are ready for export. So you can export them to the bank. Exporting to the bank means not to download and upload a payment file, but we can do faster payments with a direct connection to the bank via a open banking provider called Yappily. It's a UK company. And on the other side, in the bank reconciliation journal, you can import your bank statement automatically. And there's also a lot of intelligence built behind the scenes to enhance the whole bank reconciliation process, causing you spend less time on these maybe boring and repetitive tasks or tasks, I must say, and spend your valuable time on more important tasks all throughout the day. Jonathan, this is what I wanted to share today in this webinar. I don't know if you have received any questions yet.
We've got a couple. We certainly have. Yeah. Tried to answer two, but just to go through a couple of them. Thanks, Cliff, for putting these in the chat. We're talking about approval. Is approval by budget line possible? To say that, obviously, I assume so if it's set up in the system, but can you clarify on that one?
Not yet. So it's either dimension value, it's fixed approvals per vendor, or approval amount limits. But I know this is something that we've heard in the past more often. Mm-hmm. We are now talking about adding this functionality somewhere in the near future. It's not yet on the roadmap, but mm-hmm. there are some talks going on how we can facilitate this. Okay, fair enough. Elliot, what and may come back to you, Cliff. Said what is the goods receipting process? Did I miss that one? Can you?
All that was when Mikhail, when you were talking about approving. Just to give you an example, we in the facilities department tend to order most of the stuff that comes in. Is there a process for actually recording when things are received against invoices?
So yeah, we have what I've showed you today was our purchase document category.
Yeah.
We also have a purchase order category. And with
Right.
this purchase order category, and I will share a link to one of our videos and documentation with Jonathan later on. With this other category, you can also receive goods automatically. Well, someone sends in a document based on what is on the document. You can put the order, the receipt lines in your system and amend the purchase order based on that.
What I was looking for really was a check stop whereby we may place an order and then receive an invoice, but we haven't received the goods. And until you've done in previous processes where I've worked, you have a goods received note or a goods receiving to say, yes, we can confirm that those items have been received before that's gone for payment.
Okay,
that's
so
the sort of step I was looking for.
Yeah,
I think.
so of course that's possible. You can set up for document capture to match against the receipt lines as long as the lines haven't been received yet. The document will stay in the system, cannot be processed for any payment until someone has received the goods,
Yeah.
partially maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Then it will automatically match again against the receipt lines, and based on that, you can take.
So that's what I was looking for, was some step in here whereby you could access a document and say, yes, I've received that 4 of those items that I ordered, and that would then allow the process or the workflow to continue.
Exactly.
So that would put a hold on actually paying for items until you'd received, until you've actually confirmed the receipt. Yeah.
Yeah. No, correct. That's in that's a feature within document capture order matching.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. Are there any more questions? We move on.
John, what you're going to do is just do a quick. I mean, what Mikhail's shown you here is the demo environment from himself. We've got obviously the GovFinance package, and it's an interesting webinar today because we've got some people who've seen GovFinance. We're having talks with at the moment about deployments, and others who are seeing it for the first time. And obviously what you've got in front of you here is kind of the generic out-the-box demonstration view, but maybe, John, you can do just a high-level overview of GovFinance, how Claudia have set it up. And I know a couple of people have joined a bit late as well, so maybe didn't see John talking about some of the bits Claudia have done. But so maybe, John, you just want to give an overview of that, and we've got another few minutes to do that and answer any questions that anyone might have as well. I know, Cliff, you've got your kickoff call in a couple of weeks, haven't you, with John?
That's Monday, yeah.
I think it's Monday. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
That's great. So wonderful.
Thank you, Mikhail, for that. That's something we agree. That's a very interesting tool that can be used within the system. We're very excited about having that as an option. Hopefully, somebody can see.
Yeah, and I was going to say, actually, John, it's scalable, isn't it, as well? So depending on the size of the council, if you have a small number of transactions, the fee is less than if you have a larger number. So it does work both ways, which is quite good.
Yeah, absolutely. So can anybody see my screen now? I've got a very similar looking screen to the one Mikhail had earlier. But just to highlight kind of in terms of the role center that was mentioned, it's highly personalization is available, so you can make this look however you want it to in terms of adding and taking away particular elements. If you go into the cog, which is very familiar throughout all 6.5, and go to personalize, it will then basically highlight all the areas of the screen that you can move around, and you can add, remove, hide different areas. For example, if you wanted to hide user tasks, you could just hide that, and then that disappears from the screen once you click done. And so it's a way of making the front end look less busy. Now, that's something we've done within the standard GovFinance setup, making the menus a bit lighter, because there's absolutely loads of options within Business Central, and to make it only have on the screen what you might find useful. One down here is the report pack, which I'll quickly show in a couple of minutes. In the kind of main menus we've set up, underneath your main options will be the AGAR returns, an example of which obviously and something will be happening kind of March next year for people. But this is kind of a form we had set up just in the demo. It's an ability to, whilst it remains a form that you have to print off, physically sign and send off. It's not, there's no digital submission yet. This will enable you to answer the questions you need to answer. I have toggle, it will pull through the figures you need to pull through to allow you to note any variances and explain why. And then if you click on print return, you can preview, and then it'll put that all into the standard form that you will all know and love, and then be able to sign off and send off. So that is something that we've added into the system. If I come out of there, and if we go into all of these, you will see your chart of accounts. This is very much an example. This is something we will go through with you once on the onboarding process, an exercise of what you've got currently in terms of producing a chart of accounts that you will work with Business Central moving forward. You've got lots of options to filter within this system. So, for example, if you've got a lot of items but not everything has a figure attached, you can obviously set up the filters to then reduce the view, so you've got nothing in there other than those with actual proper data in. And if you want to click in and see what's happening, you can click on anything in blue to actually go in and see what's going on in that particular area in more detail and see all the line items there, and drill down into a more granular level. And I should say within this, you've got your view here, but there are many views within here where you can actually export into Excel, or either just open up an Excel UI where you'd still be working on the live data within the system. It's just that you're using an Excel UI, which you may prefer or may be more used to. Going back into the report pack I mentioned, this is kind of the demo of it, but it says something similar that you will be produced and available to you to give and maybe your more user-friendly view of reports with data of what's going on in the system. Just seeing examples of budget variance by department, what's going well, what's going badly, or what's being overspent potentially. That can happen. The traffic light system there, if we go into the budget detailed, that'll give us more of an option. Let's do, I haven't got a lot of data in there, have we? Let's go back to the summary and show the traffic light system about where you're spending more than you should and where you potentially underspent. I've got some left to spend, right through to the income statement on a note. Oh, that has actually got a bit more familiar to use of the income statement, and obviously you can click through the years just to give you nothing happened in 22. Just quickly click through the years to see what was happening, etc. And if we go into the reserve summary, this will give you an idea, and it's just an example where you can click on each particular reserve to get more detail, and you can even do it by month as well, rather than just the year. So lots of options within the report pack, and it's something we will be adding to as time goes on. But we're putting quite a bit of work into personalising this for councils as much as possible, and lots of useful tools available within. So yes, that's a quick high-level overview, because I know we've only got a few minutes left. I just wondered if there's anybody who hasn't seen the system before, anybody who has, if you've got any questions, yeah, just let us know. And what I would also do is put my booking link in the chat as well. So if anybody wants a separate chat, feel free to book a session with me, and we can go through more some specific questions that you may have outside of this webinar.
Thanks, John. I'd add as well, John is at SLCC conference over the next few days. So if anyone's there, pop over and see John. He's happy to run through this or have a private session with you. Also got a webinar next month as well. We've got other partners joining us, and this is the beauty of the platform, Business Central, which Cloudy have sort of converted to GovFinance. It's the flexibility and the features that are available. So work with colleagues like Michael, we can provide things like payroll options, HR, and other tools that plug into this ecosystem. There are literally hundreds of applications. So Cliff, if there's something for you in your council, you could go to the App Store for Business Central and have a poke around and find something that works as well. So really exciting. Yeah, lots of growth there. Even things like carbon credits, all this sort of carbon capture stuff, which is quite interesting. That's obviously coming in as well. So, yeah, thank you so much for joining us. If you're at SLCC conference, we'll see you in a couple of hours. So cheers.